All right. So we talked about the role of entrepreneurship in economic development, how important he is. Entrepreneur, he makes sure that new products and new services are brought into the market and as per the demand, and there is a lot of buying activity, sales activity. Okay, that is how the all the products that is produced by the entrepreneurs are sold, revenue is generated, and in the process from the manufacturing of the product to the buying by the end product, all the intermediate channels, like there will be transportation, there are a lot of wholesaling, retail selling. So everybody will get benefited. So everybody will get benefited economically. That is how the money will rotate. And as we produce more and more products, okay, by different entrepreneurs, different kinds of products, that is how we see the growth in the economy as a whole. And entrepreneurs are the one of the major contributors to the economy. And as you know, the biggest contributor to the economy is the agriculture sector. So farmers, they produce lot of grains, lot of food products. That is how a country is able to do the export whatever is in excess. For example, yeah, India is one of the biggest exporter for the sugar. We grow a lot of sugar cane. That is how we can export it. That is how we can generate the foreign currency reserves in India. And whatever is not available in India, whatever India needs and which is not locally available in abundant, they will import it. That is how we export import. So if you see, there is a export of the vehicles, right? Two wheelers. Many of the Indian companies, they export machineries, lot of other electronic equipments. So this is how entrepreneurs, they come up with new ideas. They will create a demand and they will start supplying. So if you see all these things, the economy runs, a lot of transactions will happen. For example, to give a very simple example, how economy will work is like, every day, like students, they go to the school, right? When they go to the school, for them there is a transportation requirement. Okay, all the transporters, they will get benefited. So school will get the fees. The fees is distributed, part of the fees will be distributed as the salary and other expenses. They will purchase material, so the purchasers will get benefited. They will school has a uniform, those people will get benefited. So if you see, like, there is a lot of a transaction that is going on, buying and selling. That is how everybody will get benefited. When due to this COVID situation, when schools were closed, this part of the economy got impacted. The transporters who help the students to get to the school, they are impacted. Whoever is related in this ecosystem are impacted. So this is one small example. As a bigger picture, the economy, you do a lot of buying, right? If you don't travel, you will not be using the diesel or the petrol, right? If you don't use the diesel or petrol, it will be lying over there. The production is also will be slow down. As you start traveling a lot, and traveling in the sense, as a business related, you are using that particular resource, petrol or the diesel. You are traveling, in turn you are generating your revenue, and also you are helping those. So when gas station, they start selling a lot of petrol and diesel, the manufacturers, they start getting more crude oil and convert that into petrol and diesel. So if you see the economy, it is each and everybody is interdependent. That is how when we do lot of transactions, that is how the economy will start growing. If the money, if it is if you keep the deposits in the banks, you keep the deposits in the Okay. So you keep deposits in the bank, and if bank is not able to give loan, they will not be able to give the interest. And who will take the loan? Entrepreneurs will take the loan. And let us say there is an abundant resource of a particular raw material without making use of that raw material. Let us say we have abundant resources of iron ore. Okay, that's a raw material using which we can make a iron, steel, and we can do a lot of manufacturing activity. If somebody entrepreneur, if he doesn't put a manufacturing in it to convert that iron ore into a steel or iron or a cast iron, then it is that particular resource, abundant iron ore resource, it will just remain as a resource. It will not be converted as a product, and it will not be contributing to the economy. Other simple example is a agriculture land. If suppose let us say farmer doesn't work on that field, he doesn't produce the food products, grains, even though that land is capable of producing. If farmer doesn't use that, if that particular land resource is not utilized, we cannot generate a revenue out of that. So that is how entrepreneur, he comes up with a new ideas, he takes a risk, he brings out new products. That is how he is able to move the economy. Economic development essentially means the process of upward change whereby people earn for a long period of time. So per capita income of everybody, like I told you the chain for the example of the school, there are a lot of people that are involved, and everybody will get benefited by that particular ecosystem. And as a result, as and when that particular system starts growing, growing, everybody, all the stakeholders of that ecosystem will get benefited. That is, the per capita income of the country will increase. The economic history of the presently developed countries, for example USA and Japan, tends to support the fact that economy is an effect for which entrepreneurship is the cause. So the developed countries which we see, United States of America and Japan, uh, whatever the economical status they have as of today as a developed countries, it is because of the entrepreneurship. Lot of activity in the terms of setting of the industries, okay, industrialization happened in those countries long back, and end result of that, in now we can see a developed country. Crucial role played by the entrepreneurs in the Western countries has made the people of underdeveloped countries conscious of the significance of entrepreneurship in economic development. So now other countries who are in which are developing countries, or which are underdeveloped countries, they know the importance of the entrepreneurs, and they have a lot of policies, the government policies, which will help the entrepreneurs. A lot of policies and a lot of assistance in terms of a capital, in terms of operational cost, in terms of giving the land. If you see, like some of the governments, to attract big entrepreneurs, they give the land, like example, some 500 acres of land for setting up the business at a very reasonable price, or at a no price. They know once the industry will come there, it will generate employment. Let us say if a industry comes in like a 500 acres, they set up there, at least there will be 10 to 15,000 employment. They will generate directly, indirectly, right? Direct employment. And because of the presence of that industry, there are a lot of other ecosystem will start building, which will generate the indirect employment. After the independence, India has realized for achieving the goal of economic development, it is necessary to increase the entrepreneurship both qualitatively and quantitatively in the country. So India, long back, they realized immediately after getting the independence, they chose certain areas where India was lacking, and they started institutes which brings in lot of thought process, so that more of the entrepreneurs can be developed. For example, like we have the IITs, IIMs, Baba Atomic Research Center, we have ISRO. These are the organization which started long back with a particular vision. So if you see India in the area of space research, it is considered as the one of the leaders in the whole world. But the process started very, very long back. India was dependent on certain technology, then it started working on its own indigenous technology, and a lot of technologies it built on its own. And they started now many countries they do the launching service. They launch their satellites on behalf of India, along with the Indian satellites. They put the foreign satellites as a service. So that is how a particular organization will build, and it will start contributing to the nation. Parson and Smelter described entrepreneurship as one of the two necessary conditions for economic development, the other being increased output of the capital. So, increased output of a capital rather sitting in the bank. Okay, when it is sitting in the bank, when money is in the bank, it will not generate any kind of a output. If money is made use, okay, if that money is put in somewhere, then only it will start generating more output. For example, I told the land. As such, land will not, it's a resource, great resource, but as such it will not give any kind of a output. Let us say farmer has a money, okay, or he doesn't have money, he will lend from the bank. So bank is having money, there is a farmer, there is a agriculture land. If farmer doesn't take the loan and invest in producing food products, this particular resource, land as well as the money which is sitting in the bank, is as good as it is of no use. It will not generate any capital. When farmers take a risk, he takes the loan from the bank, he buys the seeds, whatever is required, compost, whatever human resources he require, he invests them in that. He grows maybe rice, wheat, or sugarcane. When that when food product is produced, that is how, by selling that, all of this will get benefited. So whatever the capital that bank had, whatever the human land resources we had, they generate the output. So that is how using these resources only the output will get increased. Why I say High describes entrepreneurship as a necessary dynamic force for economic development. The important role that entrepreneurship plays in the economic development of an economy can be put in more systematic manner as follows. Entrepreneurship promotes capital formation by mobilizing idle saving of the public. So it mobilizes the idle saving, means people are having money and it is idle. It is sitting in the maybe as a cash with the people, or it is lying in the bank. Okay, without mobilization of that money, we cannot generate more money out of that. Okay? So it provides a immediate large scale employment, thus helps to reduce the unemployment in the country. So as we understand, when industry is set up, okay, when particular that capital is utilized and some kind of a industry is set up, it will generate a lot of employment in terms of a direct employment for that particular factory, and other ecosystem which will be coexisting with that. Okay, in terms of supplying maybe some kind of a vendors, and other kind of a business will flourish around that. So which will result in the indirect employment. So that is how for any country to reduce the unemployment, industrialization or the entrepreneurs play a great role. It make sure that the whatever the growth that is happening, that is not restricted to certain areas. So they should make sure that there is a balanced growth. It helps to reduce the concentration of economic power. So we understand, as the economy booms, definitely it gives a power. So that is called as a economic power. Using their economy, they can negotiate very easily. For example, the biggest economies in the world are like US and China. So they can, to some extent, they can use their economical power on other countries. So it will give the economic power. So if we have the development in a balanced manner, this particular imbalance will not happen. It stimulates the equitable redistribution of wealth, income, and even political power in the interest of the country. So I told you it helps with the redistribution of the wealth. This is most important word: redistribution of the wealth. Wealth, whatever the wealth that is getting generated, it will be distributed along the all the system. I told you once the any product which gets manufactured in the manufacturing unit, and it goes through different phases until it reaches the customer. So in between all the people who are involved, everybody will get benefited. That is how the wealth gets distributed. It encourages effective resource mobilization of a capital and skill which might otherwise remain unutilized and idle. So, any resource, any kind of a resource, human resource or a material resource, if it is not utilized, okay, so you have a great skill, okay, to develop, let us say, mobile application development. If your knowledge is not utilized to make certain products, that knowledge will become idle, right? So by creating a demand to have a mobile application, many people they will come, they will approach. When you make a mobile application development, they will get benefited by that application in terms of their sales. You will get benefited as an entrepreneur who develops the mobile applications. It also induces backward and forward linkages, which stimulated the process of economic development in the country. So it's all the linkage, the forward linkage and the backward linkage. So it brings in the economic development in all aspects of the complete process. It promotes countries' export trade that are an important ingredient for the economic development. So it helps with the export. So whatever is a excess in our country, that will be exported. A recent example is the onion, where now onion government has put a ban on the export because due to certain weather condition, the production has drastically reduced. So we don't have in excess. So that is why exports are stopped. Entrepreneurship is a process of comprising several distinct stages. The first stage in the entrepreneurial process is some change in the real world. So, what are the different stages in the entrepreneurial process? So, how the what different stages you will see? There are many like visible stages we have. The first stage is like in this process is the some kind of a change in the world. Okay, for example, a war may destroy countries' manufacturing facilities, but spare its trained workforce. That has happened in the West. So this is best example is the World War One. Okay, after the World War One, the industrialization rapidly grown in some of the European countries and in America, because there are a lot of destruction that caused. Whenever such things happen, the need will increase. So so there will be need to improvise the things. There is need to improvise the life of the citizens. So that need will basically drive for more innovations, more entrepreneurial activities, which will help in booming the countries. That is how it happened for the Japan also. After, during the World War, they were hit with atomic bomb, and there was a huge destruction that is caused in Japan. From that, they rose back to whatever the level they are in today. Germany during Second World War, that is a one example. Such change leads to changes in every aspects of life in the country. it creates needs for a new goods and services. So similar situation is what we are going through. So such situation will brings out new ideas, and also it creates a demand for certain new goods and the new services. The distraction of Japan's industry during the Second World War allowed the country to rebuild its industry from scratch. So that is the kind of first stage where every country will experience like a war is the one example where uh, a great change will come in the society. The second stage in the entrepreneurial development is the idea. For example, microprocessor, the brain of personal computer, had been in American market since early 1970s. So one of the next stage is the idea, right? When you have in such a situation, that will lead to thinking, lot of thinking, a lot of new ideas. A microprocessor, the invention of the microprocessor. Now we, which this innovation led to a great, huge market in the area of the computing, right? So this gave rise to that particular market. It created the huge market all over the world. The company called Altair had put out a computer that was so personal that one had to put it together oneself. So Altair, they started with a computer, a personal computer. The personal computer was they developed such that people has to assemble it. But it was Apple computer which perceived the computer market was potentially very big. So Apple is the one who understood the potential of the computer market, and it is very big. Those are the one who understood very clearly. One may become the entrepreneur in various ways. Okay, you can become entrepreneur in many different ways. You may start your new enterprise. You have some new idea. You will start your own enterprise, and alternatively you may acquire a franchise. So franchise is like the whatever the business model particular person has, if he is ready to replicate and give it to somebody else, so he can give it as a franchise. The example is like McDonald outlets, KFC, all those are franchises. So many successful entrepreneurs, they use this model where they will franchise, and for the whatever they give it as a franchise, they will earn as a some amount in that particular outlets. Franchising is an entrepreneurial system whereby an individual runs a business based on the right to make a product or service granted by a manufacturer or other organization. So other organization has that all the tools and technologies. The franchisee, he will just replicate that. Okay, he will have a right to do that, and he will run his business, and a part of his earnings will go to if it is from the manufacturer or from certain kind of a organization, some part of the profits will go to that person. Next one is intrapreneuring in another strategy. What is intrapreneur? Intrapreneur is a lot of examples you will see top executives in some of the companies. After certain years of experience, they know the in and out of the all the business, and they might get some other new idea. That time those top executives will come out of that organization, and they will start their own enterprise with that particular idea. Those people are called as a entrepreneur. It is the process of extending the firm's domain of competence by exploiting new opportunities through new combinations of its existing resources. So those are one set of stages. The other stages you can perceive is other thing, you can take it as a stages in entrepreneurial process is the perceiving, identifying the opportunity. Okay, that is the first stage. You perceive, you identify some kind of a opportunity, then you will evaluate the opportunity. Once you get the any kind of idea, you have everybody gets different kind of ideas, right? First we need to check, evaluate whether that particular idea is worthwhile. So we need to check that, then only you can go with a next stage. In case of evaluating the opportunity, so maybe for example, how you are going to evaluate, you have to come up with a description of the product, then agreement of the opportunity, to arrive at the agreement whether that opportunity is a real opportunity, whether it will uh, create a huge demand which will create a new opportunity. Assessment of the entrepreneur, assessing the entrepreneur, what are the different resources that are required to convert that opportunity into a product or services, amount and sources of capital. So what kind of a capital that is required for this particular opportunity, and profit expected, and once that opportunity is converted, what is the profit that is we are going to make. All those things should be evaluated. So without evaluation of all these things, we should not proceed, because you have to have an idea whether that particular idea, how much capital requirement is there, whether that kind of a capital requirement can be availed. Okay. And in order to get the capital, whoever is investing in your company, how they will invest, they should have a faith on the product, what kind of a product, whether it will make a profit or not. Okay. So all these things are interrelated, so proper evaluation of the opportunity is required. Drawing up a business plan. So next step is like, once you have the idea, new idea, you do the evaluation. In case of a evaluation, you will check out so many things. Okay, capital required, the market, profits, you can do. Once you come up with all those things are very well, it can be managed, then you have to draw up a business plan. Okay. So when you make a business plan, what you will do is a title of the project, table of content, description of business and industry. So title of the project. So one of the most important thing, when you have a opportunity, second you realize what kind of a profits you are going to make, what kind of a investment is required. If you want to approach any investor, it could be a government agency, or it could be a private agency, or it, or whether it is a bank, or it is an individual investor, the first thing that is required is the a project report. Whatever your idea, you should convert that into a project report, and project report will give all the details of the project, how you will get the raw materials, how that raw material is processed, what are the human resources that are required, what are the machineries required, and it will also have a kind of a market research. It will have a market research, giving a rough idea of the market that is available, the demand that is there, and what kind of a profit you can make out. So what you have to show, what is the ROI, return on investment. The If all the aspects are good, if return on investment is good, then only the investor will be more interested to invest. So for that, you need to have the project report and technology plan. Also, whatever the technology you are trying to use, you should have a plan for that. Okay. And you must have a financial plan, how you are going to use your capital, whatever the capital you are expecting, and how that capital will be utilized, how it is divided into initial investment, operational cost, how you will rotate the money. All those things should be a part of the financial plan. Organization plan, how the organization should be, how it should be structured. That particular plan will involve all the aspects of the organization, including the human resources, as well as the material resources, how you are going to organize all the things. That should be a proper plan should be there. Production and operation plan. So how you are going to produce, and how the operational activities will be carried out. you should have a plan for that. Marketing and distribution plan summary. Marketing, how you are going to do the marketing, how you are going to do the distribution of your product, what model you are going to use. So all those things should be thought of. One example I gave about this marketing and distribution is for the distribution example I gave was a Asian Paints. So in case of a Asian Paints, they don't use the traditional distribution. What is the traditional distribution? In case of a traditional distribution, you distribute it to the distributors. Okay, there will be like for every city there will be one distributor. You give it to the distributor, and distributors in turn he will give to the retailers. So that is how the normal structure is. In case of the Asian market, they bypass the distributors and directly they approach the retailers. So that is the revolutionary idea that they had. They removed one layer of distribution so that their products went fast, and also the additional cost that used to get incurred on the distributors was saved, and that saving got passed to the organization. In case of a marketing, you know, some of the organization where marketing is done at a highest level. For example, Patanjali. If you are putting any kind of a Patanjali outlet, the marketing happens at the organization level, right? Marketing happens at the organization level, and that will benefit you. So you as an individual who has set up the Patanjali shop, you need not invest any kind of money in the marketing. So these are the different strategies that should be thought about, and it should be incorporated. So all the plans should be properly in place. Marshalling the resources, bringing in all the resources, whatever is the required. Once you have the business plan ready, then you will get all the kinds of resources, whatever the resources you are required to make your products, human resources as well as the material resources. Creating the enterprise, okay, then you will structure your enterprise, consolidation and management. So then you will consolidate and you will bring the management team. So what are the barriers of entrepreneurship? There are many barriers for the entrepreneurship. Large number of entrepreneurs, particularly in the small enterprises, fail due to several problems and barriers. The greatest barrier to the entrepreneurship is a failure of success. So entrepreneurship, even though they have many benefits, also they are taking a high risk, and that risk is not insurable. So there is a very high risk of a failure. So that is the biggest barrier for the entrepreneurship. Carl H. Whisper has identified the following entrepreneurship barriers: lack of viable concept. Okay, viable is what which can be implemented. So lack of viable concept. Whatever the idea entrepreneur has, there is not a it is not a viable. It is not practical, or maybe there are technology limitation on the technology side or the machinery side, which makes that particular concept not viable. That is a one biggest challenge. Lack of market knowledge. So the biggest problem is assuming that the market will respond like this. Market will have a great demand for his kind of a product. With that lack of knowledge, if entrepreneurship goes ahead, so that will become as a greatest barrier. Lack of technical skills, that is another problem, not having the right kind of a skill that is required. Lack of seed capital. So not having the capital, that is a barrier. Lack of business know-how, so doesn't know how to execute a business, so lack of that business knowledge. Complacency, lack of motivation. So entrepreneur have to be the motivated all the time, and in turn they should be motivating all the human resources that are involved, so that the things will move in the right direction. Social stigma is another barrier. Time, presence and distractions. Okay. presence of time and the distractions, that is another problem. Legal constraints and regulations. So this can be a problem in certain cases. Suppose let us say your idea is something related to the chemical industry or the chemical factory. A kind of constraints that you have on having certain kind of a chemicals, there might be some kind of a regulations or constraints that will be a biggest barrier for that kind of a entrepreneur. Monopoly and protectionism. Monopoly, as you understand, a certain business is carried out by only one group of people, so that is a monopoly. Breaking the monopoly could be the barrier for the entrepreneur. Inhibition due to patents. Okay, there could be whatever the ideas particular person has, maybe there is already that product or the service is already patented, so that will cause as a biggest barrier. Entrepreneurship Development Program, EDP. So entrepreneurship development program, government agencies, they conduct, not only government agencies, the many private sector people are also involved in developing the entrepreneurship. One of the example I can give is the DIC, district industry center. It is in Udyambag. You might have seen the big building is there. DIC office is there. They conduct the entrepreneurship development program every 6 months. They bring in the people who are interested. They conduct the entrepreneurship development program for a week, so that in those programs they try to help the entrepreneurship with some of the technical know-how, some of the marketing things, marketing related, and some capital related, how they can get the capital, who can help. They bring those people who provide the capital. For example, different agencies of government, it could be banks. What are their plans? They will be given with all the ideas, so that it will help the budding entrepreneurs. It focuses on identifying entrepreneurship qualities of an individual. Okay, provide required training. If a particular person has some kind of a idea in a particular area, that in particular area they will be given the training, preparing related project reports. I told you project reports are very important. How project reports are, why they are important is, whatever is your idea, when you want to make it as a one enterprise, you have to make the project report. And the project report will tell about all aspects. How you will make the what profits you will make, it will tell about all aspects. So it becomes a guide for the investor. He will look at those report, and he will make sure whether he should invest or not. That is how he will come to know, looking at the project report. So they help preparing such report, preparing the entrepreneurs to manage finance, production, technology, marketing, and infrastructure facilities. So I told you some of the barriers we saw was like a lack of knowledge of technology, lack of knowledge of management, marketing, things like that. So in these EDPs, they will be prepared on these aspects. EDP also provides knowledge to solve problems and difficulties of entrepreneur. If there are any kind of problems or difficulties that entrepreneur has, these programs will help them to, they will give a idea how to solve such problems. Need for the EDP. Why need we need to have a entrepreneurship development program? It builds a confidence in people, gives guidelines to the young. Okay, because entrepreneurs are, since they are very young, they will give some kind of a guidelines, and they also bring in some successful entrepreneurs, do, and they will share their knowledge with these young people, so they will understand what are the do's and what are the don'ts. Gives technical assistance, management training, consultancy. Okay, this kind of a help it will provide, channelizes them to accelerate industrialization. So as and when these we get more and more people coming into EDP and many of those getting converted into entrepreneur, we increase the accelerate the industrialization. So once the industrialization starts increasing, automatically the economy will start booming. It is helpful in the growth of small scale section. And I told you, small scale industries, they are the biggest contributors. And as a young entrepreneur, normally they will be starting with either micro or small scale industries, which will generate some kind of a employment, and also it will contribute to the economy. Entrepreneurship in India. Okay, so we will look into this part in the next class, how the entrepreneurship developed in India, and how India has given importance for the entrepreneurship. This is the the stress on the entrepreneurial activities was all along, even before the independence, and after independence also there is a lot of stress given on the entrepreneurship, that we'll see in the next class.